Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we are back to discuss another episode of The Shaad. This is season 6, episode 11, and it's titled Saints and Sinners. But before we get started on the conversation here, we want you guys to subscribe to our channel, like the video, and go ahead and click that notification bell so you get alerted every time we post. You may also follow us on our social media at The Spot Real Talk, and let your friends and family know, get down with The Spot. We got a lot of great content here, and we're glad to have your viewership, but we are definitely trying to grow. So tell your folks. And now we got that out the way, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the conversation about this episode, Saints and Sinners. Very fitting, considering how they opened up with, Papa and the boys at church. And I'm like, okay, that's a positive thing. At least they ain't out running the streets. They doing something to get the word. And I was like, hold up. This word sounds kind of crazy. I mean, he's doing his prosperity preaching.
A lot of that going around these days. A lot of it.
It is. And I was like, okay, so he got Cuban link chains and everything. He and passed the plate several times. And I was like, what happened to it in the word? Jesus saying that he didn't have a place to lay his head. But this brother got Cuban link chains and everything, living a life of abundance.
Right. And so, I was really shocked that Papa was kind of gravitating towards him, because Papa already knew how his father felt about Pastor Zeke. He was not down with his ministry at all. And, Papa and his dad, they had that big argument about Kenya, before Papa's dad died. And he made it very explicit how he felt about Pastor Zeke and his daughter, Kenya. Mm-hmm. And yet here Papa is getting really, really close to Pastor Zeke. You got Zeke kind of gifting him the mixer and stuff. And you could see that Papa's mother also was like very uneasy about the whole situation. And she was kind of telling Papa to make sure he's doing it for the right reasons, which I'm starting to think like maybe he's not doing it for the right reasons. That's concerning.
I don't know. I think Papa's trying to find himself, first of all. So, with the loss of your dad like that, I know it does leave a great void, particularly for Papa, because, they were really, really close. And even though they had some skirmishes, but he was very close to his father. So that leaves a great void. And I suppose that Papa is not really giving much thought to what he's doing. And so he's kind of gravitated over to, this prosperity type of preaching. Whether he would actually become that, or, I guess it's left to be desired. But I don't know. I'm gonna lay off on him for the moment, because he's got a lot on his shoulders.
Listen, I think he was drawn to the fact that Pastor Zeke has this access, this wide, access to in his ministry, and this adulation, because that's what he's looking for with Papa's pulpit. He's trying to broaden his ministry, and he sees that, Pastor Zeke's message is like really resonating with people, and that's what Papa wants. He wants to be able to resonate. Now, Pastor Zeke, I am suspicious of his interest in Papa, because I'm wondering if he's taken an interest in Papa because he had issues with Papa's dad.
Yep.
And what better revenge than to take, his son under his wing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't really trust his intentions.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, because I'm like, if Papa, I know that his dad's church was much smaller, but if he really wanted to make a mark and continue to preach the word, he could fill his father's shoes and take over his dad's church and kind of do his own thing in that regard. But like you said, it is a smaller church, and Zeke's church is way bigger, has a much broader reach. So I think that you're right in saying that that's probably what he's after. But I'm just like, there's a price to pay, literally.
Well, you know
And,
what?
he quit his job. And I'm
Mhm.
like, so you got to make money somehow. So, I think he's thinking about it like, hey, this man has abundance. He can probably afford to pay me well.
I was a little suspicious of Pastor Zeke with his wife.
Now that's the problem.
Yes.
I mean, if your wife can look at Jake and, cut an eye over at Jake, and then, we'll talk about the rest of it later, but, for you to be a pastor and have a wife like that, right there, I was a little suspect. I'm like,
Good.
okay,
My son said the same thing. He said the same thing. He was just like, how we know the pastor ain't put her up there, put it up to it, to see what Jake got going on over there, because Jake got his own little, business, rising business and stuff. Just, I don't know. I just thought like,
yeah, I was like, what is
it.
this? The Church of Prosperity and that other P word that I won't say because the algorithm.
Yeah.
But I was like, there's no way that this woman has any kind of interest in like a fresh 18-year-old.
I mean, and
like,
she has everything. I mean, as far as we know, as big as the church is, she has everything. She can get, a first lady. She's a forward lady. That's what I call her. But it's woo. I'm like, okay. P Valley once again.
Not P Valley.
P Valley. The Church of P Valley. That's what it was.
I thought it was just, I was a little grossed out by it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like, she's obviously a much older woman chasing after this young boy who's obviously very moldable. You can kind of push him in whatever direction you might want to manipulate Jake. Jake might think he's kind of in control right now because it seems like he's kind of, just going with the flow. But he could find himself in a situation where he is letting this woman manipulate him. I thought the conversation that he had with Jemma was very interesting because, he came straight out and told her, like, look, we got it in. Like that's what happened.
Well, she asked.
Jemma was she did ask and she was taken aback.
She did ask.
But they kept repeating, like, if we're going to be together, we got to be honest. And I'm like, so is this like an open relationship then?
Well, I mean, come on, Jemma. I mean, look, Jemma, you open your mouth to this point of honesty, but would you have really said anything to Jake about
if he didn't bring it up first? That's the part. And I think that's where Jake is heading. Like, just be honest with me. I'm not terribly upset. I'm out here doing my own thing too. Like, come on now. And that's why I was like.
And I think that's why Jake put it to her the way he did, because, he knows what's up with her. And so, you're going to play both sides of the street. Okay, let me tell you what it's like when you get in the middle of the road. You can get run over. So, okay, so that's what you want? Let's play.
Well, he said, listen, I'm 18. We young. We need to keep our options open.
And that's true.
And it is true.
Yeah.
It is true.
It is true, but why also be in a relationship then? Like,
well, I agree. I think, first of all, like she want him to be faithful to her, but she not being faithful to him either.
Exactly. Right.
Yep. I mean, it's very one-sided.
And that's pretty much the youth. And even we were younger once. And I look, I remember that young puppy love type of thing, yeah. But this whole thing about, trying to develop something solid when you don't even know. I mean, you just off your mama's breast milk and you trying to find something solid. Come on now. Y'all learn a few things, do a few things. So in one respect, Jake, I see your plan, but if you're doing it just to manipulate her or trying to make her feel bad, then that's worse.
I don't think he's in it for those reasons. I think he just see Jemma and he's like, I know how you feel about Brittany and you're in denial, but I'm not.
Yeah. And other people see it too, because even Papa was like, you sure? Like, you sure ain't nothing going on? So people have eyes. Like, even when, and I don't want to get too ahead of you, but I'm just going, I'm going to dinner. Like, Dad can see, like, Tiara, and everybody can see that there's chemistry. Like, she's like, oh, you want me to make your plate? This, and the other. Like, come on now. People can see.
Tiara needs to stay out of everybody's business. Because, see, she's egging Jemma on. So she just needs to stay out of it. Mind your business, Tiara. Mind your own business.
Tiara Jemma is venting to her, though. So it's not like she inserted herself. Jemma is seeking her guidance.
Yeah, but y'all not friends. You need to be above. You need to be a level above, and kind of put some common sense factors into her head. But I don't know. Who am I?
I was about to say Tiara ain't the one to be getting advice from, because she just got out of her own mess last season.
That is true.
So, she ain't the one to be advising anybody. But I thought it was interesting though how after Jemma had that conversation with Jake, she kind of felt like it was okay to be a little bit more provocative with Brittany. So you seen her in the studio dancing around, being flirty or whatever, and Brittany kind of like put the brakes on that and was like, "Look, if we cross this line, it's gonna change everything." And I was like, I agree. And her dad even warned her, like, don't issue while you sleep, because you out here crossing professional and personal lines, and once you blur those, child, it's not easy to come back from.
No, it can be a hot mess.
Sure can.
And really, is she about that life? I mean, that's a real question you got to ask. Is she really about that life, or because now you're playing with Brittany's feelings?
Exactly. I think Jemma's just curious. And I don't know if she's really down with, the whole lesbian lifestyle. Like, I think she's just curious and getting her feet wet. But, Brittany, as long as Brittany knows what it is, like, just be forthcoming and say, like, I've never done this before, and I'm just trying to see what it's like. But don't sit up here and act like, oh, this is your lifestyle now. Like, it's fresh to you. It's still new. So that's where I see that going. I don't know. I hope Jemma decides to pump the brakes and stay clean in that situation. Keep it professional. But I also thought that another unlikely relationship popped up with Kenya and Zay. And I was like, hold up. Here Zay is. He's out, one of Duda's guys. We know his reputation. And he's pushing up on the pastor's daughter. Which, people think she's fast because she got the kid, and I don't want to put that label on her. But, pastors' children, they get reputations. Or they have a stereotype, I'll say.
Right. But I think he has ulterior motives too.
Yes.
Because, I'm not saying he's not interested in her. He could be. But when you think about, when we first got introduced to Duda and, Papa's dad, Duda had the relationship with the church, and Papa's dad was on a tape and stuff. And Zay has made it very clear that he's ambitious and he wants to be his own boss. So I'm just like, he sees the abundance of the church, and I'm wondering if he's trying to find an entrance, an intro to that, and set up his own little situation.
It's a good front.
Yeah, he's inserting himself in everything. He inserted himself into Jake's business and stuff. And now he's going to the church and stuff. He is becoming like a little Duda.
I don't see him much at the church part, but when they were in the car and he gave her, some of that smoke, and he was asking her some questions and everything, and something came up, something he said that kind of really sparked me, because she asked a question about being a boss. And he said, yeah, I want to be a boss. And she said something to the effect, what does it take? And he said something to the effect, I have to have a cold heart and a cool mind. So that was kind of, if you will,
red flag,
forgive me for the word foreshadowing, because it was kind of telling me where this might be going with Zay, because we know that if anybody can, someone who, if they're going to take out duty, you have to be close to them. So we kind of measured that out. So he did say, I have a cool mind, but I don't have a cold heart quite yet.
Right. He said he's still kind of warm-hearted. So I was like, so there's hope for him yet.
I think that was just I think that was something for us to chew on. Like,
yeah, it was.
And based on what and the way she took it, the way she looked at him, she kind of gave some confidence to what he was saying. You know,
She don't know what she's getting herself into.
maybe she does. You know, we don't know. I agree with you though. I don't think she does, but
He's a killer.
Yeah, he's a killer.
He's a killer and stuff. And he up in the church. I was like, boy.
You know, right. Hey, I don't think you're gonna see him sliding up in church too much, but you know, it's just that's where the young lady is, and that's where
right. I better say, I think he'll do what it takes to get closer to her and to get into church and stuff. He may be there. Yeah, came with his glasses on and everything, looking
like all studious and everything.
Yeah. I'm like,
see that right there, you didn't even come correct. That is not, you don't look like that.
He's trying to look understated. He did. He was trying to look. He wasn't looking flashy and stuff, but we know he's been a serpent so far. So
a real wolf in sheep's clothing, huh?
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that she can open her eyes before it's too late, or that he puts her in the line of fire, because just being associated with him, she can also end up being the target.
Mm-hmm.
And I also would be interested to see how Papa feels once he see his boo moving on.
we saw that when he saw them walking off, and Papa's oh, come on, look, man, you can't have it both ways. You either one or the other.
Right.
Yeah. So I want to talk about another surprising family relationship that kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, hold up. Alonzo, the lawyer, is Rob's dad.
Good matchup, though. That's a perfect match. I mean, they're about the same height.
And I said that too. I was like, they almost the same height.
Yeah, that was a perfect match. Kudos to that. I mean, wow.
Yeah, great casting.
Definitely.
So it kind of complicates the situation, though, because Alonzo representing Vic is one thing, but the fact that Alonzo is Rob's father, and he has this history with Alicia, and he is kind of a known criminal attorney. He's basically sought after by a lot of hardcore criminals to defend them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, Rob mentioned it. That's how they met. And I'm like, oh, the plot thickens for real. Here we go. So thinking about that, Alicia said that there was a conflict of interest there, because she feels like Alonzo is trying to avenge Q's death, who was her brother, and Alonzo says it's not a conflict of interest for me, though. But I'm like, how isn't it?
Really, it's not, because it's a personal. It may be a conflict of interest in the personal end with Alicia. But as far as the legality of it goes, no, he's trying to, he's representing
Vic, who's innocent.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
There is a possibility that it's a conflict of interest, because you have a history with the person that was killed. So that's why I'm like, the water is a little muddy.
Yeah, because that's cute. Was he ever married to Alicia? If he might be his brother-in-law.
I mean, he could have represented Q, in any number of things. Q's dead.
Right.
Move on. You move to the next criminal. So, I don't see a conflict on his end. I just see Alicia, being pissed off at the fact that, he wants to take on the case in the first place. So, Alicia, get over it. She got a lot of nerve, though.
She looked like she still has
she does
feelings for him, because he acted like he was going to kiss her, and then he said, and then he played her. He played her. Like, you look tired. I was like, oh, no, he didn't play
my girl.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
But I was thinking about Alonzo's motives too, because he came into the picture and was kind of checking on Rob, and I guess Rob hasn't obviously seen him in quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they went to go and sit down at the bar, it was obvious that Alonzo had reason. He was trying to make sure that Rob would testify alongside Vic if it came to that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that Rob was really upset, because he thought that, his father came back into the picture to reestablish a bond or a relationship, rebuild. And here you are asking for favors. So I think he didn't appreciate that at all. But I just was like, what does Alonzo have against Duda besides the fact that he killed Q? Like, is Alonzo also in some kind of beef with Duda, considering Alicia's beef with Duda? Is he kind of inheriting the beef too?
We don't know yet. I just know it's, maybe he's the type. This is high profile because Vic is now a public figure. He's councilman and stuff, and maybe he's one of those attorneys that that what they call them, the ambulance chasers. They chase the big cases and stuff. So maybe that's why he wants to attach himself to Vic. But one of the things that you touched on that I want to piggyback on when you said that Rob was mad, because he probably felt like he was being used, because he thought he was having a genuine father-son moment when his father was really seeking intel. But when he left, when he opened up his little binder or whatever, his little his little binder, he had pictures of Rob when he was little in there and stuff. So I think that lets us know that he has feelings for him, that this may be twofold. So he's there to do a job, but he still, is still trying to remain close to him. Maybe he doesn't actually know how to go about rebuilding that bond, but him having the pictures there of him when he was little lets me know something. It's still something there.
And that showed the soft side of him, but he came in like, I suppose what else can he do? So he comes in, he says hello, hey, quick chat, hey, I need you to do me a favor. And I guess more of a legal favor. I need you to, be on the team. Rob took offense to it because they're not close. Got it. But I don't see anything wrong with him asking either, because just as he asked, he said, you were involved with trying to kill Duda. So he wanted to, maybe see if he'd do him a solid and help him out with the trial. Although you might want to come around a little more if you want those kinds of favors, I don't
know. Getting Rob to testify.
He did ask Alicia, or said, or brought up to Alicia, did you have Rob? Did you put Rob up to trying to kill Duda? She sat there and lied.
Yeah.
Yes, she did.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering how he thinks that Rob's testimony would help Vic, like besides just being like a character witness or something like that.
Corroborating.
How could
just corroborating the
corroborating? I mean, because what is there to corroborate if they got your prints, and I think there were photographs of him taken with the car, and so it's like,
I seriously doubt the way that car was burnt up that you're going to pull any kind of prints or evidence, because that car was.
Well, they said that it was a match.
Yeah, FBI did say that.
That's what they said, but it would be interesting. Here's the point: if you got prints, okay, if you got prints of Vic, if you have his prints on that car, you arrest him because you have probable cause to arrest him.
That's probably coming. That's probably coming.
But that's my point. You don't wait on that. You go to a judge, found fingerprints, found the body. The fingerprints on the car belongs to Vic. Can we get a warrant for his arrest?
I think that's coming. I think that's why Leon.
And I'm thinking it should have been on 6/11. Now, if it happens to come that way, then you're right.
Right. I think that's why he's trying to get ahead of the game. I think he's trying to get his ducks in a row. He probably like, okay, the feds are involved. They got your prints. He said he probably can foresee that arrest is coming. So that's probably why he's trying to see if
did he say
Rob,
did he say they have his prints or they have prints? And because I remember him saying, and if it's yours, something to the effect that.
Well, I mean, I think he's trying to prepare for if an arrest comes down. He wants to have something in his pocket with Rob to say, hey, I was asked to do this or whatever. So I just think
it's culpable evidence. If they have that kind of evidence, they have to share it with the defense. And if that's the case, then he should already know that they got that evidence on Vic.
I think he do.
Well,
he did. That's what he was telling them in the car.
That's what he was telling them. That's why I think he's asking these questions. He's going to represent Vic, and he's trying to build his case. He's trying to represent Vic. So that's why
I wonder.
You got to arrest him first. Right now, there's no case until he's in the bank. You got to arrest him.
I wonder if Alonzo has some other motives too, because having people in high places is a benefit if you are a rich, powerful attorney and you trying to make a name for yourself or even enter politics yourself. I'm like, he must want something out of this.
Yeah,
that's what I Clout.
Yeah, makes perfect sense to me. It is more to it about his pockets than helping Vic.
Probably, I agree for sure. That's why I said he's probably an ambulance chaser. He's, he's looking for.
So I wanted to talk about another complicated father-son relationship. Darnell, he is out here throwing long-lost siblings on Emmett and forcing them on Emmett.
I wanted to put Darnell in the hands this week.
Me too.
Because I was like, you don't do that. Like it's cool to want the siblings to meet and all that stuff, but you have a conversation with him. You don't blindside people like that and everything. So and he did it the whole episode and more than once, 3 times, because he did it with the outing with the laser tag. He did it with the dinner, and then he he asked Emmett to give him a job. So he's out of pocket. That's 3 strikes to me.
Jada said it best. She said, did you feel a certain kind of way when you introduced your 3 kids to Keisha? And see, and look, you throw a boomerang out and it's coming back. And
right.
So I didn't really see that much wrong with it, except to say, yeah, you should let them know, but how do you let somebody know who didn't know up until this point? And Emmett,
you have a conversation.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. That's the only thing I think is wrong with that. Yep. Like it's cool. It's cool that they want to meet and everything and stuff, because it's natural to have blended family. Shoot, I got a half sister. But have a conversation. Yeah. The way it happened. Jada was right about and she helped Emmett to see that
we hope.
He was being hypocritical in his
own situation and different perspective, and she was right, because Keisha is being accepting of the fact that he has children with 3 other baby moms and stuff. So she was right in that regard. I think that Emmett was right in saying, "Give me a heads up." Like you're inviting someone. He thought it was Father's Sunday. You invited something that he planned. Then at dinner. And no shade to Damien, because I thought that he gave a nice prayer and all that, but he led the prayer at somebody else's dinner table, and you weren't even an invited guest. I mean, they weren't expecting you, so it
was all messy. It could have soured the relationship from the start. Like, you don't introduce people like that, and like you said, blindside them. And like you said, a conversation would have absolutely helped lead. And I can't believe Jada kind of went along with Darnell in a way. She was like, saying maybe the way he did it isn't wrong, and saying like, yeah, but look at your situation. I get that. But I thought she would have been kind of talking to Darnell more, saying this probably isn't the best route to take. Like, maybe you need to ease them into this instead of just throwing them at Emmett.
We know Darnell.
So I hope.
I mean, we know Darnell. We know his mannerisms. We know his characteristics. And I'm not disagreeing with you guys. First of all, let me say this. You're right. There needs to be more communications and about it. But I thought Emmett could have warmed up a little more. It is your half brother. You didn't know of him. It seemed like he was cutting shade the whole time at the bowling alley, at the what do you call it, laser tag, even at dinner, the whole 9. He was just cutting shade. He could have lightened up a little bit, maybe just to even ask questions. So, let me talk to you. Let me see what you're about, since dad
Well,
didn't.
he did ask a few questions. He was asking him like, "Oh, well, did he come visit you too? And did you see him like during your upbringing?" And Damien was kind of saying like, "I seen him on like holidays and stuff like that, but it was very spotty."
Right.
So
We got to go deeper. If it were me, I'd be a journalist. I'd have all kinds of questions on my board.
And here's the thing. You heard what Darnell said. When he asked him how old is he, was, oh, he around the same age. So this woman was, Damien's mom was pregnant around the same time that Jada was.
Exactly.
And not only that, Darnell said he had more coming. He's talking about he want to get his kids back together.
Right.
Emmett said Darnell had about 20 kids. So I'm like, if this is how he's gonna introduce them, then he needs to rethink it.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, if he got 20 kids, he better rethink it. That's it. That's gonna be a big problem.
Yeah, so Darnell was dead wrong for that. Yeah. And I lastly want to talk about Bari because Professor Gardner told him to journal. He did not tell him to write a confession. Okay. I was like, sir, you supposed to be writing about your feelings, maybe dumping off some emotional baggage, but you don't go in there and write down and create a paper trail, not only about your past murders, but about murders you wish you could commit.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like,
I thought
this is going to end bad.
It is going to end bad. And I was like, I'm thinking he's getting the redemption arc. And I was like, okay, is Bari going to die? Now I'm thinking he probably go to jail, because one of the things, and I don't know if this is true, this is just me thinking out loud. When I saw how Papa's mom was treating him, I said, she's throwing shade to him, and maybe she feels that it's his fault that Papa's dad is dead because he's hanging with Duda. He's working for Duda. I was just like, he's still staying in the house. What if she finds that journal and she turns it in or something like that? That's what I thought, because I was like, she's already not feeling him right now. And what if she does that?
Yeah, that would be a sad ending for him. Because I know that he feels remorse for what he did in killing Ronnie. And because he said it himself, like, I did that and I thought it would make me feel better, but I didn't feel anything. And so I'm thinking like, okay, he realizes that that's not the route to take. And like you said, he's on this redemption path. And it's like right when he gets on the cusp, I feel like everything is going to come crashing down on him. It's already too much built up against him. He got his sister out here being an informant to Duda. He got these past murders that are haunting him. And then he's still associated with Duda and his crew. So it's like all of this terrible stuff from his past that he can't seem to shake. I don't know. I'm not hopeful. I don't think it's going to work out for Bari with the way things are heading.
I like the idea of Papa's mom finding the journal and perhaps turning him in. I don't think the teacher would. I don't think he would do that. I think it would really call into question. Well, first of all, he would know who he's dealing with, but more importantly, their relationship would run a lot deeper than just a few English words and sentences. And I think that Kadeem would be ready for that. I think that would be a project that I could see him taking on, because there is some redemptive attitude in the writing. So, the only person that I think that would really turn him in is somebody that's already scorned, and that would be Papa's mom.
Well, as a professor at a college, I know he's representing the college. Does he have an obligation to report stuff that his students write? I mean, Bari's not technically a student.
Not after school.
You're right, because it is like a side project.
It's a side project, yeah.
So I'm hoping that because of that.
But then like I said, there's some redemptive tonality in the writing. So it isn't like, he's like, I killed 6 people and I want to kill 4 more just to make her even 10. That would be, okay, yeah, I got to turn this brother in. But he's really trying to find himself. And I think at this point, to turn him in would be that's cold blood.
Right, but he admitted
what
to
did you
taking
just
her
say
life.
about the boomerang though?
Yeah, look, that's why I said I'm more in line with Papa's mom finding the journal, reading it, and then turning him in because she's kind of, salty about the whole situation with him in the first place. I don't see it so much with the professor, but that boomerang can come back through Papa's mom.
Mm-hmm.
And remember what he said, and when he was writing in the journal, he was like, "Live by the gun, you die by the gun." So,
yep.
And
Foreshadowing.
that is not just a street code. It's also, I believe it's biblical. I gotta look it up.
Yeah.
It's biblical.
Live by the sword.
You die by the sword.
Die by the sword.
Yeah. So it's a biblical point of reference, and it seems to be very true. You just got to be careful of what you do out here because it's a boomerang effect.
For sure. So that's all I had. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about from this episode, or any predictions you want to throw out there?
Okay.
I know I have one. I do think
we didn't talk. We didn't talk about Alicia and Shaad.
Yes, we did not.
Oh my God!
We did not
talk
about
that one.
She is.
How did I
tell y'all last week? I said, the way he was looking back like when she said you can fix the whatever in the morning. I was like, uh-oh.
Yep, he got it. GTD got the draws. Okay.
But you see how she's setting them up. She's setting them up.
Alicia is manipulative as heck. And Shaad don't even know what he just walked into.
He can't even see. Yeah, I want you to be chief security. This boy don't know being chief for anything.
Whose clothes she give him? What are Alonzo's clothes?
I was about to say Alonzo gonna catch him and be like, "Is that my coat?
Is that my jacket?"
Yeah, he did have that leather jacket on, looking like Shaad. So, that she was like, "Yeah, you can be my head of security with benefits."
He should have known something was up when he mentioned that he was a felon and he couldn't get a gun, and she said, "Oh, I'll take care of that."
Yeah,
I was like, okay, I would have been like, what you went to?
He was sleeping in the car, and he can't give a these. I think at this point, he kind of desperate.
Yeah, from a car.
Look, Shaad sure know how to come up because he be getting these women that got a lot going for them. Yeah. I'm like, he sure know how to pick them.
Yeah, but this one, he's coming up sideways, so it's gonna be interesting.
Definitely. Yeah, I can't believe I almost let that one slip by because I'm like, Shaad is in for a very rude awakening with Alicia. She's gonna have him doing some crazy stuff that I don't think he's gonna be willing to do once he realizes all she's into. Like,
I think he's more interested in, like you said, he was sleeping in a car one day and the next day he's in a plush, somebody's plush bed, and he got a woman on the side that got money. So, not on the side, a woman that is using him, but she has money and she's willing to spend it on him. I think that whole ideal is going to overtake any common sense he has. So
right, and I think with his previous love interest, he probably felt like she had a lot of money and a lot going for herself, and he was inadequate. But in this scenario with Alicia, he also is coming up short in comparison to her money. But I think she's going to feed his ego and kind of like use the employment as her security to make him feel like, no, you earned this money. This is yours. You did. And I think that that's going to be what keeps him around because, I'm sleeping with you and I don't feel inadequate. I got my own money. I'm earning it legally.
And he's looking sharp. He's going to be wearing suits and everything. And then he got an official title, head of security.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that's all the ego boost you need right there.
So Alicia,
man,
she's doing it.
We knew that though. We saw that coming last week.
Yeah, we did, but he didn't.
Yeah, so Alicia about to have him maybe doing some very shady things.
Yeah, taking out Duda for one thing.
I told you she's lining up her Avengers.
Yeah, she is. She is.
Yeah,
she is.
So it's not looking good for Duda because he's losing people in his crew one by one. So I think by the end of the season, it's going to be the whole Chicago versus Duda.
Yeah, and it could be somebody in his crew because that Zay guy is really ambitious. It's something about him that reminds me of Dre from Power because Dre was very ambitious too,
and playing both sides.
Yeah, and he would do whatever to win, and I see that in Zay too.
So, yeah, I'm interested to see where all of this goes with the storyline. I really enjoyed this episode. I think we already called out a few names that we are going to put on the hands list, namely Darnell. He can get the hands.
Yes.
Pastor's wife, Tatiana, she can get the hands.
She can get the hands.
Pastor himself.
The pastor himself.
Oh, yeah, Zeke. Pastor Zeke. Yep.
He can get the hands. Anybody else y'all got to nominate?
Keeping the seat warm for Zay.
He's a nominee.
Yeah, he's a nominee. Honorable mention.
Okay, and now who can get the game ball this week? I don't know that anybody really stood out to me. Yeah, no.
Playing chess. Alicia playing chess.
If I were to honorable mention would be Jada for getting Emmett's head straight with this idea of now you're all settled and you got your thing, now you want to knock somebody else's. You can't do that. So I don't think she deserves the game ball, but I give her honorable mention.
Okay, I can get down with that.
Yeah, I can too.
All right. Well, this was a really good discussion. I want to thank all the viewers out there for watching. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel, like our video, click the notification bell, and also give us your thoughts about this episode and any predictions you have for the rest of the season. I know that you guys were really excited to see what interview we had dropping, and you've seen that big bombshell of an interview with Luke James and Jacob Lattimore. So I hope you all enjoyed that one. That was a treat, like for real. And if you haven't watched it already, go to that interviews playlist that we have and click it, and you'll find it right in there. That was an awesome interview. And oh my gosh, to be graced by those two, I'm jealous that I missed it.
Well, next time.
But there's more to come. We have more surprises.
Yes, we always got something up our sleeve. So that's why it's going to be very important to make sure you keep up with us. We are always on social media on all major platforms at The Spot Real Talk. And like I said, that notification bell is going to be your best friend when we drop in our videos, and you want to be the first one on there, making sure you can see who we got, because we always got somebody. So stay tuned and, invite your friends and family, like I said at the opening, because the more the merrier, and you can help our channel grow and continue to support us in that way.
Yep.
You guys got anything else you want to add?
I'm good.
All right. So on that note, we're going to call it a night, and we'll see you back next week for episode 12. Night.
Bye-bye. Good night.
I've been dreaming about you, wishing you what you were.